Hello one and all, my name is Sean Splains and this is Slay the Spire 2. Where we left off last time we finished Ascension 1 with the Ironclad and we had a brilliant run, and I'm really hoping to carry that energy through into today as we play as the Silent in Ascension 1. So again, our main focus is that we're getting more elites. We want to just try and have fun and make a strong build and push through. Ideally, if I see things I haven't taken before, I'll try and take them. One of my favourites here is File Holster, which allows us to get another potion slot, and then there's two more things that we can get, the potion belt and alchemical coffers, potentially, if we're lucky, which gives us more potions, and then in the third act we can get a relic that allows us to fill out our potions every battle, and that can just be fun to try and do, so that's the one I'm going to try and push for today. I know this isn't partially like how to play the game more efficiently and consistently, but I want to try and have a bit of fun here and there as well while we're going up the ranks. So here we have a fortifier potion and a flex potion to start us off, which will be good for getting us through some difficult situations. We have a new boss that we haven't fought before that I would say is probably the hardest one to get through in this act, so hopefully we'll do well there. And if I can, I want to try and take 3 elites and get a few bonfires. I'm going to take a 3 elite path. It feels bold, but we'll go for it anyway. I'll probably take the question marks because you can get some really good events in this map. Go here to heal potentially, another elite, another potential heal, and if we really want we can take a 4th elite if we're feeling bold, but I highly doubt it, so I'll leave this as a question mark and see how I feel when we get there. Let's crack on. Really simple combat as we've mentioned before. We just want to kill one of them, and then ideally the other one's doing this when we kill the first one so that it doesn't impact the fight at all. Here he's the one that's doing that, so we'll weaken so that block means we're only taking a little bit of damage. Next turn we're going to kill the front corpse slug. Unfortunately he is attacking, but it should be fine. I'll use my neutralise there, then we'll strike twice. And we unfortunately don't get enough, but I can actually fully block here and then just go for the kill next turn. We get 2 strikes, so that's fine. Take 12 gold, and then we get Haze, Dagger Throat and Leading Strike. I am very inclined towards trying to do Shiv builds, so since we did more of a poison build in our Ascension 0 that turned into a Shiv build, I want to try and do a purely Shiv build if I can help it, so we'll push towards that. I'll take Survivor and I'll try and force some full blocking to begin with. Sometimes it's not always possible in fights, but I'll block as much as I can. Here you can weaken so that your defend covers all of the damage. Then while he buffs, we get lucky and we manage to take him out. There we go. Here we've got Ricochet, Leg Sweep and Slice. So against this boss that we're going to fight, Lagavullan Matriarch, Leg Sweep's really good because you want to try and apply long-term weaken as much as possible, so I'm going to take that. The other options were good in certain situations, but I think this is going to be more impactful to us over time. It might even really help in this combat, so that we just get consistent weaken on this enemy. Also means we're blocking for this turn, so now we can just focus on damage. Now that they're only dealing 4, I'll just block and attack twice. Neutralise, strike and another leg sweep. So as you can see, it's becoming really impactful because it feels that they're permanently weakened and we don't have to deal with as much damage, which is nice. Then we'll kill it. Here we get Noxious Fumes, Haze again, it really wants to give us Haze, and Untouchable. While I'm tempted to take Untouchable because it's a good block card since we can play it for free, quote unquote, if we discard it, I'm going to take Noxious Fumes because again it's really good into this enemy and it's also really good into one of the elites in this combat, which at the moment I can't remember if we've fought, but I'll point it out when we get there. Here's an event that we haven't seen, I'm pretty confident, where you can get a spoils map, which is another quest item like the Bordonis egg in our very first video, which gives you a treasure in Act 2 that gives you an extra 600 gold, which is an insane amount, or you can just take a potion and lose some HP. Obviously the risk is every single combat you're going to have to worry about drawing this and it's going to blow out your deck until Act 2, but in all honesty 600 gold is definitely worth it if you feel quite strong. We still have 2 good potions with 2 extra slots, And we've got a relatively solid deck right now. We've got the leg sweep to keep us alive, and we've got noxious fumes for long-term damage. So I'm going to just nab the spoils map and see how we get on with it. Unfortunately, we don't have enough gold to see how good this can truly be, but this has the potential to be an amazing event if we have at least 200, I would probably say. At the moment it's not worth it, we're at full HP, this is a pointless one, so I'm just going to take a random upgrade. But if you have about 200 to 300 gold, keep clicking the top one and see what happens. Ideally I'll get to do that in a future run, but not today. We get a strike upgrade, which is just some extra damage. Another really good event. I don't think I have anything that needs steady though. Although, I mean, Survivor would be good with steady, because then I would get to discard whatever I wanted, and I could keep it as a solid block card. So I could take 6 max HP here, or I could enchant a card with steady, which means it retains and I hold it in my hand. I think I do actually want to retain the Survivor, so that it gives me some consistent block across turns. And also if I do pick up Sly cards in the future, I'll be able to play them more consistently. And here is the elite I was talking about. For me, this is personally the hardest elite in this act. We have the Phantasmal Gardeners. There's 4 of them, and every single time you hit them, they will gain 6 block for the rest of the turn, and that happens each turn. So the way to get around that is poison, or trying to single down one at a time. In this case, we're going to go for the poison option, and try and ultimately just defend as best we can, and survive the fight. But they will scale. Every single turn one of them will scale while the other 3 attack, so that's something to keep in mind. Here I'll neutralise this one so it's doing nothing, and I can do the maths a bit easier. So it's doing 14 damage, and we can block for 13 at the moment, so I'll do that. I always try to strike into one that's already got a strength buff, that's got lower HP, so we'll attack the one in the back. And then I'll press Survivor here. Here we get our Survivor back again, which is really handy, and we get our leg sweep. So I'll leg sweep into this character. They're yet to buff themselves, so I'm unlikely to attack them anytime soon, so giving them more weak is impactful. And since we still... what would be better here? I think it's worth it to just take some damage. So they're going to be doing 16. I'll take 5, but I can actually hit every single enemy here if I use Leading Strike. Well, 3 out of 4. I don't know why I said every single enemy. Talking nonsense. But as we can see, the guy in the back's getting low. We managed to hold on to Survivor, so we can use it this turn if we need. I can't quite kill you, so I'll hit you to take you down to 2 times 3. I'll defend and Survivor to get my block up. And I'll hit this one. As we can see, the noxious fumes giving us all that poison is really racking up over time and proving how efficient it is. I don't actually need to hit this one in the back now because the poison's going to kill it next turn anyway, so I should focus on the other ones. But given how much damage they're now doing, we've got 16 plus 9's 25. So I'm going to defend twice, use my fortifier potion to give me triple block, so now I block all of the damage. And then I will attack this Phantasmal Gardener. So now both of these are going to die next turn automatically, and I don't need to think about them. And we can just focus on the front 2. So here, if I hit you, you're dead. I hit you, you're dead. And that's that. Thanks to using our potion at a good time, we've held on to a decent amount of HP. Juzu Bracelet means we don't have to deal with encounters and question mark rooms. We were already really fortunate to not deal with that anyway. There's no point taking Dagger Spray because that was the only really difficult fight with more than one enemy in it. Escape Plan is always a consistently good choice there. I'm going to take a Smith here. I feel like I can afford it. And based on the enemies that we could go up against, I'm going to take the Neutralise upgrade to get an extra weaken. Here we get Captain's Wheel, which gives us 18 block on our 3rd turn, which is going to be really good against both this guy and against the other elite. I think I'm feeling strong enough I might take a 4th elite. It depends how these fights go. I've been unfortunate to not get another potion because I've not taken many fights, but we'll see how we get on. I probably want to activate my Fumes turn 1, and then I'll just take the defense. My goal here is to try and minimise the amount of damage I'm taking as best I can. As much as I obviously want to hit him as much as I can, I really want to try and hold on to my HP. I feel like I'm rambling at the moment. I'll just try and calm down and fight. So here I don't really need to focus here. So as you'll notice, this is a good example. I think I mentioned it in the last act where this shell will reset each turn. So even though I've hit him down to 0, I mean he still has poison on him, that poison will still hit him because of the way the counter resets for his turn and then for our turn. So that was still a good idea to hit them with the extra strike. Here unfortunately I'm going to take 2 damage, but now we're going to get back on track and we should win next turn. We only took a few points of damage and there we go. Nice easy fight. We get a potion, although in my opinion it's pretty bad. I mean, having the 2 retain is decent in certain situations, but I don't find it that flexible for me. Getting the paper crane to make weak more impactful is amazing for us. And we get 3 poison up. I said I wanted a shiv build, but it's determined to make me do poison. We have Outbreak. For every 3 times you apply poison, deal 11 damage to all enemies, which is really good. Bouncing Flask we saw last time and it was impactful. And Snakebite is really good because of the retain it has and we can use it on better turns. I think I'm going to take Bouncing though, just because it gives us more poison overall. I do want a Snakebite, but not right now. Here I'm going to be greedy and take another buff. Yeah, I'll take the Bouncing Blast buff. Do I think I can get through 2 elites? Who knows? Let's find out. So I'll do triple defend, so we're only taking 1 damage this turn. I don't think I fully explained this elite in my last run because I was going a bit too fast, but they have the 70 on them, so they get stunned at 70 HP and then they go into phase 2. So the first half of the fight they're going to rotate between 1 big attack and 3 small attacks. And the second half of the fight they inflict vulnerable, so they start doing 50% more damage. So ideally you don't want them to hit you at all in the second part. So I want to prepare for a solid part 1. And because of Paper Crane, instead of that doing 2 times 3, it's 1 times 3. That is so strong. So we'll do as many leg sweeps as we can in the first half of this fight so we can keep them down. I believe this usually does 21, so the fact that that brings it down to 13 is... It doesn't feel like that hard a fight now, it feels like I've overreacted. But anyway, we'll just crack on. We want to rack up the poison as much as we can before we hit 70, so ideally we'll get Bouncing Flask again. I'll go with another leg sweep and a strike. Here, the 16 poison is going to take it down to, quick maths, 76. So I don't want to hit him with a strike at all, ideally. I could hit him with a leading strike. There, that's easier, it goes down to 73. So I'll leave it at that, and I'll fully block for the turn. So now we're in a pole position to deal all this damage. And now I know it's not going to hit me for a few turns, and even then the poison that's on it's definitely killing it. So that was a flawless way to get through it. Like I said, if you can avoid the second phase of this fight, you'll find it super easy and you'll get through it okay. We get a fairy in a bottle, which we've seen before. It keeps us alive, so we're making the potion belt work for us. And then we get permafrost. I don't think we've seen this before. The first time you play a power, each combat gains 7 block. At the moment we don't have any powers, so it would be nice to see one. Unfortunately we don't see one. We get Finisher, deals 6 damage for each attack already played this turn. This is really good on a Shiv build. Up My Sleeve, a controversial card, but I really enjoy it for long term fights because it starts at 2 cost but it goes down to 0 cost after 2 attempts. This is great in elite combats and boss fights, but Calculated Gamble is too hard to pass up for me. That's always a snap pick. This is, in my opinion, a secret elite, much like the Hunter Killer in Act 2. This enemy will force you to only be allowed to use 1 skill a turn after this, which is, it's too strong. It's unreal how unfair this is. To only be able to use 1 skill, especially as the Silent, so we need to be really careful. And now it's going to start summoning minions as well, so we'll take that, which gives us a block. I'll strike, and then I'll just use Calculated Gamble, which gives us, thankfully, some more damage. Here I have to try and block all of this damage. You're dead, weakened, and then we'll defend. Again, I feel like I spoke up the difficulty of this enemy, but we have a really good deck going at the moment. We get another potion, we're getting really lucky with the potions. Distilled Chaos, play the top 3 cards of your draw pile. And here we get another Up My Sleeve. Anticipate or Flick Flack. I do really want up my sleeve because it's good consistent damage for later on, and then we can just angle into another Shiv / poison build probably. Although we do have calculated gamble to make things like Flick Flack work. But yeah, I'll take up my sleeve. I think it'll be really good. Whenever you take a 4th elite or a 5th elite, even if you get super lucky / unlucky, it's always randomised. So as much as this is the same as the first one that I fought, that doesn't always happen. This could have been the other two as well. So we'll start with Noxious Fumes. We get fortunate enough to draw that to begin with. I will weaken you. And because of the Permafrost relic, I now don't need to worry too much about blocking. So we do this, and we'll hit the one that's buffing itself, holding on to the survivor. I really feel that this was a good choice. In the long run, it's helped in a couple of situations now. Here I'll leg sweep into... I think it's random between which one of these two are going to buff next. I'll guess this one. And then we'll lead and strike here, and hit you, and hit you. We're taking 14 damage. Is that okay? That's okay. I don't mind taking 3 here. I'm debating whether I'm even going to heal at the campsite at the end of this act, to be honest, but we'll see how we get on. Here, I've got 4 potions, although I don't really see myself getting another one. I could try and hold on to the potion. I could get up my sleeve, which will give me more shivs. So... and that is your draw pile. I've never actually used this potion when you've only got 2 cards. I would assume it only plays the 2 cards, so I'm going to leave that. I really want to play Bouncing Flask, but I also want to try and dodge the damage. It's just, playing too fast can be bad for you sometimes. We obviously have Captain's Wheel, and yet another funny situation of me forgetting to check my relics kicks in. This is becoming too much of a theme. Please don't typecast me. So we get through that totally fine. It's a good thing I didn't play the potion, that would have made me look really silly. Here I will neutralise so that you're dead. I will leg sweep here. So you're now only doing 4 damage, and then I'll just strike at the front. I will take 2 damage here. They're both dead. And I will calculate a gamble so that I can try and finish this one off. And then we get through a 4th elite, which is unusual for this character. Here we get Knife Trap, which will really help with our Shiv build, which we are trying to shoehorn. Prepared is always really good, but I think Knife Trap's an obvious take here. Noxious Fumes 2 is tempting, but yeah, I'm going to try and really force a Shiv build here. And I will upgrade Calculated Gamble so it retains, and then I can choose to play it whenever I want. That'll be especially good because we'll get Centennial Puzzle, so if I get hit and I don't like the cards I have in front of me, I can obviously just play Calculated Gamble. So here we have the Lagavullan Matriarch fight, where the main gimmick here is that it's asleep for 3 turns, so you've got 3 turns to set up. But because we're playing Silent, we're mostly doing a poison setup. The poison's going to go through the block and it's going to wake it up anyway, so we're just going to get running right now. I'll play the Noxious Fumes and I'll play Bouncing Flask to get some poison down as quickly as possible, and then we'll get some weaken on there as well. We get to retain our Calculated Gamble. As I mentioned before, that's going to be quite handy for us. And this turn, I'll tactically take 1 damage to proc my Centennial Puzzle and give me more options. That gets us all of these cards. And I don't need any block because my Captain's Wheel procced, which I remembered this time, thank you very much. I don't really like my options here, I want to try and get more poison on as quickly as possible. So we'll play this, we get our Bouncing Flask back. And again, I don't need to play Escape Plan, so I won't bother. I'll just strike. We're already up at 25 poison. I would say this is the main method to get through this enemy, is to just poison it as quickly as possible and rack that up. Because one of the main mechanics here is this turn, where it's going to reduce your dexterity and strength whilst buffing itself. And that's where this fight becomes really difficult. If you don't have enough front loaded damage or you don't have enough poison and you're struggling to get through it, the longer the fight goes on, the harder it gets to kill it, and it can become really difficult really fast. So if you have poison, you don't really need to worry about losing your damage potential. You just need to worry about keeping yourself alive by keeping it weakened and blocking as much as you can. So here it's -2, which is really effective against us, unfortunately. but I'll just block and let the poison do its work. We're being unlucky to not find another bouncing flask, but it's okay. Oh, there it is. And it's going to die anyway this turn, so that's how we take out the Matriarch, and that was Act 1. We get another vulnerable potion, but I don't think it's that useful based on what we have since we're mostly doing poison. And here we get Murder, which is a new card. Deal 1 damage, but deals an additional damage for each card drawn in this combat. This is really good in long drawn out battles, and when you upgrade it goes down to 2 cost. Nightmare is a classic from STS1. Choose a card and next turn add 3 copies of it into your hand. This is good on so many different things. I like using it on 0 cost cards so you get to use more of them, but I think I might take Burst here because again we're on a poison build and this will just allow us to use those poison cards more. That's all we have time for today. Thank you for joining me. I hope you really enjoyed this one and you're enjoying the flow of just working through the Ascensions. My plan's just to try and get through every Ascension casually with every character and explain what I'm doing along the way. Hopefully keep on building up wins and help us all make better consistent decisions while still having a wee bit of fun on the side. Just as you can see here, I'll label the next video in the series when it goes live and drop a little subscribe button there as well if you could do that. But apart from that, thank you so much for watching. I have been Sean Splains, and I'll see you in the next one.